Good morning. I'm Sandy Stewart with the Industry Training Authority, and thank you for having me here today. I'm here to talk about the multiple assessment pathways, which is not, here we go. I have to time this. I've never done this type of presentation before, but I worked on it. So I'm here to talk about the multiple assessment pathways project that we've been engaged in for the last 18 months or so. To give you a bit of a context and where it fits in our world in the industry training environment, we believe that an effective industry training system needs to do three things, really. It needs to support the acquisition of skills through training, which can be either formal or informal training. It needs to support the recognition of those skills through assessment. And it needs to, in order to assess effectively, we need to be able to translate industry's expectations of what those skills are in the workplace into standards. So multiple assessment pathways is focused on the assessment side. It's exploring a new model for assessment, but it's also part of a larger national initiative which is geared at strengthening the Red Seal program, and that's looking at documenting our industry standards in a different format, something we call occupational performance standards. And it takes us from the realm of where we are or where we were a couple of years ago in terms of documenting the tasks that are expected, the people are expected to do in the workplace, to enhancing that by indicating how well those tasks need to be performed. So their performance expectations. We initiated on the assessment side 2 pilots, one in the cook industry and the other with heavy-duty equipment technicians, more commonly known here as heavy-duty mechanics. And we did this in partnership with our industry training organizations, Propel in the tourism industry and Transita from the transportation industry. Our goal was to target people who had not been through an apprenticeship program. So these are people who've had no formal training, or they may have picked up a course here and there. And our approach was to develop what we call a multiple assessment pathway. Our current approach uses documentation of time served in the trade, and then people write a written multiple choice exam. In the pilot, what we wanted to do was focus on competency assessment, so defining what people needed to do and how well they need to do it and measuring against those industry-defined standards. We produced a suite of resources, including an assessor training program, the standards themselves, marketing information for the candidates, and a whole bunch of forms, more forms than anybody wanted to fill out. And then we were able to recruit about 65 people. Well, there were 71 in total, but 6 of them withdrew. And we put them through a 5-part assessment. So it started with the candidate doing their own self-assessment. And so they were given the standards ahead of time, along with a questionnaire, and they went through and determined what skills they had and what areas that they'd worked in. They were then, their portfolio was given to a trained assessor who was also a certified tradesperson in that trade, and they submitted what was called a portfolio of evidence. Could be a resume, letters from employers, and then they had what's called a competency conversation with that trained assessor. And those were sit down, it was about a half an hour to an hour-long conversation designed to get at what they had done in their work history, what kinds of skills they had, and in the case of the cooks, could they really cook? After that, they did a short written test, about 30 questions, short answer and some multiple choice, and then a practical assessment, which, depending on what credential you were challenging for, encompassed anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours. The results we thought were actually, we were really pleased. 65 people were actually assessed. 24 achieved the Professional Cook 3, which is the Red Seal level, and 19 achieved the Professional Cook 2, 12 achieved Professional Cook 1, and only 10 were declared not yet competent in that we couldn't give them a credential. But the important thing that we think of the program is that all of those people walked away with something. And in fact, what we found is of the 10 who only missed their credential by less than 10 competencies, and there were 38 competencies in total. So we felt that that was really good, and we gave these people a transcript which showed them exactly which competencies they had obtained and which competencies they still had to get more experience in. And because seeing is believing, what we've done is we've captured on video a couple of the people who went through the process. And so what I'd like to do is play the video, and you can hear from a candidate himself in terms of what he thought of the process.
My birthplace is at Cambodia. I was an immigrant here in 1988. I have to do to get money to support my family. So whatever job available for me, I take. Finally, I got a job. And then after 2 years, the chef moved me to working in a banquet. But he introduced me, he said, oh, this program coming up for the Red Seal, if I would like to challenge it. I said, yeah, why not? And then he processed my name and application sent to ITA, and then I got approved, and then I start study from there. We have to do 3 tests, first verbal, written exam, and doing practicum. It's a little bit hard because my English is not like perfect. The cooking, I already know what to do. This is my first time, like a challenging. I never been do something like this before. This is a big step. I could work anywhere in Canada. Red Seal is like official. I didn't expect that I have my Red Seal one day, but this is like gold medal. It's not only for me, for people out there that they don't know about this program.